He's smart and he's a Jew. He's an actor and an activist and wants to hear from you. He's absolutely Jason. He's absolutely gay. He'll absolutely brighten up the darkest rainy day. He's funny and loves movies. He's smart and he's a Jew. He's an actor and an activist and wants to hear from you. He's absolutely
Hey everybody, welcome
Jason.
to Absolute
He's
Jason Stewart. I'm
absolutely
here with
gay.
my guests, two of my closest and dearest friends, Dalila Rajah, actress and writer, and comedian and actress and writer and everything else from Truth Serum, Aida Rodriguez.
What's up?
Welcome to the show. We're here to discuss Sundance and all things Oscar.
And all things Jason.
Well,
And
yeah,
so he did Sexy Lumberjack today for us in honor of Sundance. Is that what it was?
Yes.
All the ice and snow. Do it. Give
yes,
it. Give it.
which we were actually there together, and we actually slept in the same bed for 2 nights.
Oh my goodness.
And in my
How did that go?
I wrote about it in my show.
Did you really?
Because I used to sleep with my uncle. Remember?
Yeah, I didn't know you slept. Well, everything is crazy there. 'Cause to get a room in Sundance is like insanity.
I bet.
And Ida didn't know that she was staying longer, so I said, "Come on, stay at my place." And I was sharing a room with Michael Schull from Aristocal Entertainment, and he had the bedroom and I had the living room, and we had bed. So we just it was pretty crazy.
It's like a big artist slumber party.
Yeah.
So where do we start with Sundance?
He actually comforted me in the midst of my anxiety.
Aw.
Like such a.
He's a big
Daddy,
teddy bear.
just a daddy.
Uh-oh.
I'm a daddy, and I have
Work.
candy, and you can get that on my website. It's my new CD.
Plug, plug, plug.
So let's talk about First Birth of a Nation, because that's my movie. And so I'm in Birth of a Nation. I have a nice supporting role.
Congratulations.
Thank you all very
Yes,
much.
it's magnificent, and you're wonderful in it. Oh,
Dalila actually got to see it.
Oh, that's right. You guys saw it
before.
at CAA.
Actually got to see it. And what was really interesting is that I saw it for the second time and saw it with completely different eyes. So I'll just share with people the opening night experience. You go there, you do the press line. Ida, best friend, could not get a ticket.
Oh,
That's a best friend.
no.
We tried everything we could. I even tried when I was in the room after the press line. Oh my God, that's it. There I am with my bald head and my cashmere this. And
Is
my
that the
right
picture
behind
I
Nate
sent you?
Parker with his little sexy self.
Yeah, look at him.
Brilliant.
Nate Parker's with the guy that played Nate Parker as a younger guy right next to him. And we're in there. We could not get a ticket anywhere. It was Cray with a
That
large Z. So Nate Parker comes to stage, who's the writer, producer, director, for those at home who don't know, and the star of the film, The Birth of a Nation, based on black abolitionist Nat Turner, and about the rebellion. I play a plantation owner that causes part of the rebellion. And so he gets on stage, standing ovation by the cast. I'm not sure everyone else stood up, but I don't know because we were so into our.
I
you
heard
know-
all the reports that the standing ovation lasted for over 10 minutes.
Well, that was after the film. So the film is over. Gabrielle Union, who's in front of me, stands up the first time. I can't tell you my involvement with her, but for those who don't know, I am linked to her for the rest of my life because of what happened between us. So I'm doing we all stand up, we all go on, he announces all the actors, all the top actors who have front card billing. So it's me and around 13 or 15 people who are front card in the film, and then the producers, and then the moneymaker, and then and it was so great. I mean, I don't even think I even saw the audience. We were all so completely overwhelmed. The crying and the pictures and the puffiness and I thought it was just sort of amazing. And for those at home who don't know, when you go to Sundance, when you do a big movie, they do a dinner before or a lunch, or we had a dinner before, which was almost like a family dinner. And that's what they called it. It wasn't like a cast and crew dinner. It was like a bar mitzvah or a family reunion or a wedding. It was so wonderful. And the film was bought for $17.5 million.
Record-breaking $17.5
These are my
million.
girls, so they're
Yeah,
just
it
going to
was
sit
more
here.
than any other movie ever.
That's what I
It
heard.
shattered
Is
the
that for
record.
sure now?
It's,
Yeah.
No, it was for sure
Okay,
then.
'cause
It's so shattered the record that it's not even close to what the last one sold for.
It was
broke
people.
the record.
Yeah, it was.
It's
People
something
were
like
confused.
$6 or $7 million.
The
over.
second one was that also got shown, which was also a was Manchester by the Sea, starring Casey
Oh, yeah.
Affleck, who actually hugged me very tightly on an audition that I went in for things that he was producing, and then called me back. So I'm in love with him. And it's a Kenneth Longren film, and it's supposed to be really, really good. It's actually Matt Damon turned it down because he couldn't do it, and he wanted the film to get done.
That was the other movie that people could not get into. Even people with tickets could not get into the
April
movie.
Webster, really big casting director who I've known since I was a little kid,
April.
could not get into the
Wow.
second screening. And I was going to give her my ticket, but my ticket was apparently already given away. It was crazy for Birth of a Nation and the other film, Manchester by the Sea. So, Dalila, you actually saw the film. Tell us your experience of it.
I couldn't stop crying afterwards. For about 20 minutes, I feel like I felt like a lunatic in front of all these people who were at this casting screening because I started talking.
It was big people too.
Yeah, it was, and I'm trying to tell Nate thank you and how amazing, and I couldn't speak. And it wasn't just I know that there's sometimes where you're really moved within the process of a film. And it's not to say that I wasn't while I was in it, that there weren't tears brought forth at moments during during watching the storyline progress. But it was actually more, the entire thing is a whole work of art and all the layers that it uncovered. Nate talks about it, and it's the first thing, I heard him talk about it after I'd seen it, but what I kept thinking is this is such a reclaiming. It's a reclaiming of the title, but it's a reclaiming of.
Let's just hold the thought. But in 1915, there's a film called The Birth of a Nation, directed by D.W. Griffith, which is the first feature-length epic film ever made. So, on an artistic point of view, it's a landmark.
But it had a whole bunch of artistic innovation, so they make everybody in film school watch it, but it's propaganda for the KKK.
Yes, and at the same time, which I didn't know, which I learned in the making of this film, because I saw The Birth of a Nation. Oh, we got to change that title. That's the first thing I was thinking to myself. And then when I saw the film, I understood the idea of taking it back, and also at the same time, I was educated in learning that millions of people in the United States became a member of the Ku Klux Klan because of this movie.
And a lot of people died.
Yes, which is even
there was a whole
so
resurgence.
tragic.
The KKK had settled down, and then the film came out, and there started
did you know
to be.
that? I didn't even know
There was
that.
a huge resurgence of killings, lynchings, people setting up picnics just to watch people be burned alive. I mean, seriously, after the film came out, that swept.
How do you even hear that?
All that, it was horrific.
And now we have Donald Trump.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I can't even, the fact that I was.
Because they said the KKK membership has gone up since Donald Trump.
Oh,
Yes.
the white supremacy
Yes.
is now backing him. Hey,
And he's
hey.
got their official endorsement. And let me not say that. I don't
Yes,
know
it
if that's
was.
true. I don't know if it's official.
No, it was sent out in a robocall.
Yeah,
So
they did.
that they are now officially, whether he's sanctioned it or not. They
The
love
black
it.
Republicans and the KKK have officially sanctioned him. That's scary.
Black
Well, you know what?
Republicans.
There's a black Republican organization that officially.
There are 3 people, right?
Honey,
a
I
bunch
think he
of 'em.
paid them. I don't know. Actually, there's a lot more.
I mean, Stacey Dash is.
It actually talks. I actually think that's a whole nother subject, but it speaks to
Let's
the
stay on
miseducation
Sundance
and
before we go. Yeah.
and twistedness that you actually see in the film of how black people were miseducated and our brains were brainwashed. That's how you end up with people who do that, I think.
But let's talk all Sundance, so we'll keep on this.
But I do want to say something
Please.
about Birth of a Nation because I didn't watch it, but I had dinner with 3 women who did, and they were the executive women that I went to dinner with. One of them said that she had.
This is the Fox Theater you have?
But
Okay.
this woman wasn't from Fox. Yeah, this woman was. I'll remember, but what she said was that it was so impactful to her because she had never seen white people being slaughtered by black people like that ever.
That was the
on
gal she brought to
screen.
the party, right?
Yes, and she said she said it did something to her psyche because she subconsciously she has been programmed to believe that that's not possible or acceptable. And I said, well, imagine in the reverse because it's something that we're used to. We're used to seeing Roots and we're used to watching.
we're
saw
used to
12
watching the news.
Yeah.
Shit.
12 years. It wasn't in the 50s.
It's so
it was in-
funny because I didn't think of it until this moment that I've invited 2 women of color to discuss this.
Oh,
I just
I thought that was on purpose.
No, I invited you because you're my friends and I knew you would come. And I needed you to. I wanted 2 smart guys, but I just realized that now at this moment that this is even cooler. God, I put together a really good show.
Yeah,
I didn't even remember it until this moment. I just said, hey, Ida, would you come and do this? And I said, oh, would you come also? Because I wanted to have.
There's
2
something
different
about
point-
that reclaiming that's really it's because it's not just. I mean, we got off on the thing about Birth of a Nation, the original film, but it's not just a reclaiming of the title. Because Nat Turner was a preacher, and for so long black people were oppressed with the Word of God and the Bible. the fact that he chose this story to tell, where it's Nat Turner, who's a minister, that's creating this whole rebellion and going through his process of how you go from being a man of God steeped in the Bible, geared more towards peace, to being led to a place where you feel like you have to rise up, and watching that journey happen, and then having this kind of reclaiming of the word of God that's constantly been used against us and to oppress us is magnificent. My grandfather was a Baptist minister. I think that's a part of why it hit me so hard in the aftermath of like the story as a whole. Like at the end, it's like just these waves of like, it was almost cathartic.
The film has these 3 waves that happen in a row, and I won't tell people what they are because I don't want to ruin it for them. But you think and then it just hits you, and it hits you. And I remember going to Nate at the end. Number 1, I was so completely overwhelmed by the film, and number 2, I was so completely overwhelmed that I wasn't cut from the film.
That's honest. That's so Jason.
Except for you were so good, and Nate talks about this man. Nate kept talking about how good he was, and he, even before we went in to watch it, he's like, "Isn't he's so good? He's so good." And and Jason was talking about that, and God bless him, because he was like, "Yeah, well, Dalila helped coach me." I was like, "Thank you for the plug, Jay," because I was like, he was magnificent in it. He did a wonderful job.
Well, that's very kind. So it meant a lot to me. The whole thing, the whole experience meant a lot to me as an artist. That the idea. We're speaking of diversity today. I was just at a diversity meeting at the Screen Actors Guild after, and we're all talking about the idea of including more people of color and sexual preference and everything, age, all the things, women, and the idea of this, and the fact that a black man cast me in this film. I mean, he was the final say for who would be played. He told me this. It was, to me, says something about where we're at these days, that a gay Jewish liberal can play a white heterosexual Christian plantation owner in 1831. And I, just the fact that he did that is a gift of a higher power of sorts.
Because you're a good actor.
Well, that's very nice of you to say, but thank you. So we're going to take a break so I can pull myself together, because I'm...
Don't cry. God damn it. You cry one more time.
Or let him cry. Go ahead, shed the tears, and we'll keep talking.
Look at this. Look at this.
You cry, we'll talk.
Okay, we'll be back in just a second on Absolute Jason Stuart with Aida Rodriguez and Dalila L.A. Rajah. Please stay with us. Don't change that channel. Oh, my God, we don't have a channel.
He's funny and loves movies. He's smart and he's a Jew. He's an actor and an activist and wants to hear from you. You are watching T Radio V. Radio in TV.
Hey, what's up? It's Tone Loc in the house, and you're tuned into T Radio V.
I'm Laura Samoza.
I'm Sterling Gardner.
And we are Between the Sheets every Monday here, 3 p.m., TRadioV.com.
T Radio V.
That's right. It's T Radio V, Radio in TV. What is that face?
He wants to see our hands.
That's Radio in TV. Wah, 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 wah.
We're not a couple.
Hi, I'm Ty Simpkins.
Miss Danielle Basutti.
Hi, this is Brooke Peoples.
I'm Jocelyn Donahue.
Hi, I'm Keegan Allen, and you're watching
T Radio V. T Radio V.
T Radio V, Radio in TV. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
T Radio V. Yo.
T Radio V. Radio in TV. Radio in TV. T Radio V.
What did you play opposite Andy, Eric? Do you remember?
Andy and I worked as two employees at a network.
Okay. Oh, you're forgetting the other thing.
I played a news anchor, and he played a reporter.
Okay, but the other thing you did, the thing you did on the Andy Dick show, who did you play to Andy?
Oh, is that when I played my sister?
You played his wife, Denise.
Yeah.
Yeah, you played his wife.
Yeah. So what's wrong with that, Eliza?
Nothing's wrong with it.
He's got a great range as an actor.
Yeah, it just was funny.
Encounters with Eric and Eliza Roberts, Wednesdays from 2 to 4 p.m. on T Radio V.
Hi, I'm Rob Hubel from Welcome to the Jungle. You're watching T Radio V, aren't you? Radio on TV. Terrible idea.
In TV.
You shut up. Use that one.
You are watching T Radio V. Radio in TV. He's absolutely Jason, he's absolutely gay. He'll absolutely brighten up the dark.
Hey, we're back at Absolutely Jason Stuart talking with Aida Rodriguez and Dalila Rajah, talking things all Sundance and soon all Oscar. You wanted to talk about The Land, you said.
Well, I mean, the other
Did you
movies,
see
but
it?
I saw it with you. What do you?
Oh, right.
You made me
You are
Oh, my
nuts.
God. That was
are
crazy.
We like walked through snow, caught buses.
He was on a
early in the-
euphoric high from birth.
Oh,
in the morning.
Jesus.
But
I
it-
love that film. And
it
I
wa-
got to say, I love that film. I got to give a big shout out to the director.
And Nate has something to do with that movie. He provided, when the director spoke, he said Nate helped provide some of the actors. It's a movie about 4 adolescent boys from Cleveland growing up, and they're skateboarders, which is very popular in the ghetto. And there, 2 of them are Afro-Latino. Moises from Hannah Montana is in the movie. And
Which one was he?
He's a little Puerto Rican boy.
So was he the really teeny short
Yeah,
one?
he's
oh, my
from,
God.
He's from Hannah Montana. And
the director's name is Steve Capel Jr., and
Yeah.
and he was the writer-director.
And he's Puerto Rican, and he's half black and Puerto Rican, so he identifies
Sort of similar
Afro-Latino.
to you, because you're Dominican and
Puerto Rican.
And also
Indian.
Indian and African centric.
Well, I mean,
Your mom
African
and dad
is
were
the
Romeo
real-
and Juliet?
that-
So I have to say, I can't tell you how many people who were African American black at the festival who said to me, "Are you half black?" Everybody kept thinking that I was black. I can't tell you how many people.
To be a slave owner?
Yeah, well, after meeting me, not the slave owner.
Oh,
people.
after joking. I
Say,
was
it's
gonna say.
hard times, it's small farmers.
I remember walking up and down the street.
She also coached me. So
Oh, that's awesome. So it's both.
It's
It
a
was-
village.
I was 7 people I had.
Because you did one person.
One
a week,
day
right?
I spent
Yeah.
7 days before I went actually to fly out there with 7 different actors
nice.
who I absolutely adore. And I said, please work on this with me. I begged you all.
So let me tell you how infectious the whole Birth of a Nation thing is. I went to my writing class on Sunday to Writers Boot Camp, and
Right.
one of the writers was talking about it, and he said, this movie is going to be very controversial. It's somebody's particular point of view, and some people are going to agree with it, and some people are going to disagree with it. So I got labeled angry because I got up and I said that this is not a particular point of view. It's a part of history that is neglected in your history, which is part of our history. That doesn't
He worked
mean
7 years on this script
yeah,
with
but
his
I was
partner.
like telling him this is not somebody's opinion about what happened. This is actual fact that it's neglected in all history.
It's
so
historical.
I'm very offended that you would position it that way. You haven't even seen the movie,
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So
really.
I got they're like, just calm down as usual, and I was like, I don't need to calm down. I'm fine, but don't put that out there on a movie that has yet to come out to stir the pot.
Yeah, I think it's interesting when people, because I do think it's a something that happened in history, and it's a particular person's prism of how to tell that story. Just like
Right.
Selma was
Absolutely.
Ava, and Ava says that she's like, this is my, it's this story told through my prism. But she used all facts. Like when she pulled all that stuff, she actually pulled the FBI files and all that stuff. And Nate did extensive
But
research.
specifically.
Yeah, but he didn't
about
make
that-
Nat Turner up. Like
I
he's
know,
not
like, he
telling
didn't,
the
like,
story.
but-
Yeah, no.
And I also
did
learned
a-
that the book that was written about him, the famous book that's written about him, is not a real account.
Yeah, no, there's
apparently.
a whole bunch of
And
like
it's
distorted
it's
accounts. That's the reason why he had to do.
discounted.
Yeah.
So this particular book that's the most well known that they I think have in the libraries that people have read is not a historical account. It is a certain point of view of a certain white man that wrote this. Am
Yeah,
I
there's
correct?
also a film. There's
Am I-
there's a documentary or something that was done at one point that also is distorted
Duke,
version.
oh God.
Return to the Mayflower, I think, is probably the book that has the most accurate accounts of slave rebellions during that time.
Oh,
And I think
It's hard because I think that Nat Turner was the first ever rebellion Black Rebellion that was actually written about. So I'm assuming there were people before.
There were quite many.
But they were not written about. And the reason they were not written about and the reason we did not hear is because black people did not know how to read and write at that time. So they were not able to tell their own stories.
And then there was some like on the islands too,
Toussaint
Louverture. Like he did, and his was written about as well, but it was because it wasn't in the continental United States.
So the story was also written by Jean McClaney.
Nate had a partner who worked on it.
Who did the story with him, and then Nate wrote the actual screenplay, and they did the story together. So I wanted to give credit to him. And Nate was.
Is it him or her? I thought it was her.
It's a him.
It's a him. Okay.
Yeah, he was on stage with us. I had not met him before.
Nice.
And I had not met him on the set, but what an incredible experience! What an incredible film! But there are some other films. There was a film that Ira Saxon did called Little Men that was absolutely wonderful. It was like a beautiful.
Do you remember seeing that one
yes.
with me too?
Yes. Yes. It was 9 a.m.
It was a charming little movie.
It was like a little parfait, a little souffle.
Yeah,
and Greg Kinnear was just terrific.
I love him.
Yeah, the mom was good.
Yeah.
But the lady,
the Argentinian actress who stars in the movie, say a little bit about her. She was so good.
She was so
very famous.
Still in her role, so still and yet so moving. She was just. I think
her name is Paulina Garcia. Is that?
She was seamless. It was just because. Specifically for me, seeing Latin women and women of color always having to be so explosive on stage, this woman was so still and so effective. And every time she was on screen, she would steal the show. Yes or no?
Yeah.
She would just.
She wiped the stage. And the people talked about the kids, but Aida and I talked about. I think Greg Kinnear, the guy who played his wife.
Yeah, they were.
We're and also this one Paulina Garcia, who's on Narcos, which is on one of the. Pay station. I think it's on
Netflix. It's on Netflix. I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard
she's
amazing
in Much Ado About
things
Nothing, and she's also in the 33, which is about the Chilean miners. She's from Chile. And I got to say that Netflix and Amazon were major buyers in this festival, picking up the numbers to like 10 million for a lot of things.
I have meetings with both.
They actually offered $20 million for Birth. Netflix did, and so did Byron Allen.
Yeah.
And so did Harvey Weinstein.
Weinstein. I thought they had offered a lesser amount. And
he also $20 million too. I think.
There's an article that just came out yesterday explaining specifically why he turned down Netflix.
Well, it's interesting when he talked about it. He talked about it.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
he talked about it in his live interview right after they'd been
Deadline?
up all night.
I still
on
have not
Deadline.
seen that. Yeah.
It was great, but he said honestly, which I think is great because most people don't talk this way, at least out in public. He's like, I prayed on it. He's like, I really just, he said, I'm new at this. He said, I've never done this before. And he's like, when I don't know, he said, I place my ear in my gut and I listen. And then he's like, what I heard was that I should go with Fox Searchlight. And so that's what I did.
But on the other side of that, I think pragmatically, Harvey Weinstein,
your people,
my people, is more flamboyant and more, he'll make his decision at the end of the year, what should be Oscar, what shouldn't be Oscar. And I think that Nate wanted a sure thing of what would be considered, what would happen, what would be methodically done. And Fox Searchlight, which also released Love is Strange, which I was in, had a little part in. So I had experience working with them in the award season because I went to a lot of stuff for that film and supported it tremendously. Yeah. I think Ira Sachs is a director to be dealt with.
Oh, yeah, he's good. Ted Sarandos from Netflix, when he did his panel at Sundance, said that he believes that Beasts of No Nation didn't get Oscar nominations because they were on Netflix.
Yeah, I think so too.
They're not there yet,
It's coming. It's going to happen.
But there's a lot of dissent with them because they take away.
She was waving to the owner, just so folks at home know.
That's my boss.
That she wasn't just waving at people as they walk by.
I'm waving at the camera because I love you guys and you support.
At home, right.
But what he was saying was like that the theaters and the companies are they're still a little ruffled about Netflix because it takes.
They pushed back a lot of the theaters when they first said they were going to release Beasts in theaters and like a couple other ones. Some of the theaters refused to carry it because they said we're going to release it on Netflix on the same day, and they were like, then we're shutting.
There is a prejudice against that still. Yeah, Chirac did that well, and I think it did hurt it in a way. I would think that you'd want to wait until actually.
I think Chirac hurt Chirac though. That's just.
Oh wait, why?
What's black on black crime
Wait,
in
why?
Chicago? It's about black on black.
I haven't seen it yet.
I
so-
haven't either, and it's a black and black crime in Chicago, and it's also done all in poetry. I have a couple.
But it's based on Lysistrata, which I thought was interesting. So I have to preface this with, when I was at Spelman, we did in our fine arts department. There's somebody that did an adaptation, actually kind of similar to this, but that it wasn't a musical. That was basically they set in the inner city with some youth, some black youth, the story of Lysistrata, and I really loved it. So when I heard that Spike was doing it, like everybody else is getting all up in arms about like women and their power, and they are you kidding me? And I was like, y'all know this is like a really classic play that's been redone like 20 billion times, like, and this is not like he just pulled this out of his neck.
Was it
Lysistrata, yeah.
Lysistrata. It isn't the Fellini film. That's Lysistrata, right?
No, Lysistrata is a Greek play from like
Gotcha. No, I know that.
ancient
I know that.
Greece,
I was wondering if Lysistrata was part.
I don't know.
of the
I haven't ever seen
I
it.
saw it when I was a kid in film class in high school, and it's one of my favorite all-time movies.
Yeah, well, I think the biggest issue that Spike Lee had with Chirac is that people naturally think that he has beef with Chicago, and he
Really? Why?
Because he hates Chicago. He had expressed it before.
Okay.
And so to say now I love Chicago is he has a very New York.
This is about Chicago, mostly sports related.
Point of view. It is sports related.
It ain't about the city. It's about like the basketball team.
Is this what this is all about? Is a ball and a hoop?
No. He actually said when he did his first set of interviews that he didn't like Chicago. He was like,
he always puts his foot in his mouth.
And then
and I love him. Just put it there.
Chicago people are. I mean, they might be killing each other, but they love Chicago.
Oh God,
over there. So I think it's very. They could feel that from him. It's a very, they did.
Have you seen the film?
I saw parts of it. I'm not gonna talk about. I can't. I won't diss my people, but I will say they had a very difficult time dealing with Nick Cannon as a gangster. It was just a very tough film to swallow for people who are from Chicago, because the reality of Chicago is so painfully
Well, it's a
real.
war zone. And it's still a war zone. It's like a war zone in the middle of a war, and you're showing a film about the war, like if it was World War II, and you
so
put it
the
in
idea
middle
of showing what is going on there is a great idea, but the execution didn't work, and the depth.
And I think there was a lot of pushback from people that
I've heard that
are
too.
from Chicago.
I want to see it because I've heard mixed things, and the people that I sometimes find myself really on tune with around.
We should do that. We should have that. We should all watch it.
Yeah, have like the similar aesthetics, have liked it, and people who I don't always resonate with didn't like hate it. Like, and why is it like hated it? But I'm like, they hated a lot of other Spike stuff that I actually love. So I'm like, I think I have a different thing around the poetry and the artistry.
The lead girl was really good.
How about Jennifer Holliday doing a role that is so close to what happened to her in real life?
Oh.
I mean, that's something I'd love to see. I mean, I can't even imagine what she has been through, I mean, I just can't.
I feel like I'm at the Oscars. You turned the music on.
Oh, did they? Oh, we'll be back in just a second.
Okay.
Okay.
No,
I didn't think it. We'll be just back in just a second. And absolutely Jason Stewart. Please stay with us. Oh, my God. He's like...
He's absolutely Jason.
T Radio V. Radio in TV.
Grant. I'm Grant Reynolds. Oh. I don't know what to do with my hands.
I mean, this is pretty much just like the same thing. Oh, wait, this is...
No one wants to see her ninny goats.
Like a bear. He's like a big bear, isn't he?
Yeah.
Let me
Hold on, we'll start.
If you don't like the right pizza, go yourself.
You never know who's shunning.
Absolutely,
I think
Jason
that my
Stewart.
show is better than yours. Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
The only thing that masks alcohol while you're driving is peanuts.
Peanut?
Have lots of when you're drinking.
It wouldn't be the first time Langdon had Skippy in his mouth.
Isn't that your dog?
T-Radio V.
Get in the car.
Waka, waka, waka.
Throw another log on the fire. It's not hot enough back here.
T-Radio V.
radio and TV.
Ay, ay, ay!
Hi kids, Billy and Francesca here for my brand new show at T Radio V, Advice from an Idiot, every Thursday from 7 to 8 p.m. Pacific time. So please call in and get some advice from someone who knows absolutely nothing about everything.
You are watching T Radio V, radio in TV.
He's an actor and an activist and wants to hear from you. He's absolutely Jason, he's absolutely gay. He'll absolutely brighten up the darkest rainy day. He's funny.
Hey, we're back, and a big apology to all of the people who are doing the technical here, because I keep talking with my girls and forgetting that we are actually doing a show. What's going on in between is just almost more interesting than anything. But we will keep talking. Let's talk about the Oscars. So Oscars So White has been the hashtag what's going on. I think this is a complicated subject because in the Academy, what I'm to understand is that 23% of the people are women and the rest is men. The average age for a man is 62, which is really...
It's like 62 or 64.
Somewhere around there, yeah. And I thought that was really interesting. And that...
It's 97% white.
97%, is it 97?
It's like 97% old and white.
Yes. But the thing I got to say is a lot of the older senior people are starting to talk back, and I think because we're going into another thing that if you're over a certain age, we should turn your.
They're not in tune to what's going on.
But I don't agree. Let me be devil's advocate. I don't think it's just the older people. I think it's a lot of the younger guys who don't seem to watch a film about straight out of comedy. They don't want to see these movies.
I don't think that the younger.
They haven't even watched them.
I
think it's a mixture.
I would beg to differ. I would say that I'm not talking about ages. I'm sure that there are some older people that watch it, but you can see blatantly by what's happened in the last few years and where it skews and who it's skewing to.
The reason is because I'm getting to be an older guy.
Yeah, but you're an artist and you have to that's a corporate setup. Those are not creative people. Those are not.
So you think it's
those are not artists.
So you think
some of them are.
What do you think it is?
Because you only vote within your own category. So there are other people who are doing this work, but they're people who did this work a long time.
So big shout out to
what?
Mark Ruffalo is one of the people that has been exposing what's going on with the Oscars, and he's been involved in Color of Change, and they are talking about some stiff old white people that are over 60 making decisions about film that is today that is discriminatory, not just against people of color, but women, brown people, disabled people.
I think that's more in the studio system. Like, I think the Academy does skew way older, and I think what happens is people, unless they have a reason to be interested in it or drawn to it, don't always watch the films that don't fit within their own prism or seem similar. And because a lot of the way it was set up for people to come into the Academy was you have to know somebody, you have to get a couple people to vouch for you. People only brought in their friends, and because the people 30, 40 years ago were almost all white in the industry that could even qualify for that.
Because
Gary Hardwick can't even vote. You sat with Gary. He told you at breakfast he can't even vote.
Yeah, it's
and
crazy.
He's a filmmaker, and he's like, I'm not even allowed to.
Why is he not allowed to vote? He's not
in the Academy.
He's not in the
They
Academy
fought when Rodney Dangerfield, which was sort of weird because he was a comedian. It's not just a color thing. It's a certain highbrow, dramatic cultural thing.
Yeah,
it's
but I
much
thought that
more
somebody at this point, like because it's somebody nominating you, I feel like when you get to a certain point in your career, I mean, I guess you have to make the request, but ask two of your friends to recommend you. And then
I mean, Tangerine, the film that I was in,
Like-
also was not nominated. Oh, you're taking a picture of all of them? Snapchatting. She's so great at everything.
Hi, Snapchat.
Spielberg wasn't even nominated for his own film, though it was nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah, but
Tangerine, which is one of the most interesting films that's been done. It was made on an iPhone starring two transgender women that were actually transgender based on pieces of their lives. Was not nominated in any category. I would think that it would have been nominated for Best Picture. There were 2 slots left. What I'm to understand is that each 10 films has to have over a certain vote. So if it's 8, that's why the other 2. I think
which I think they need to change that.
I do too.
Just take the next 2 down then if it's not that.
I think so. And I think that Straight Outta Compton or Tangerine, I mean, would have been
Or
nominated.
maybe even Carol, but you know.
politics, because
Maybe Carol, yeah, which about lesbians.
Straight out of Compton scared a lot of people because of the "fuck the police" statement. I think
But
there's a lot of politics, especially because of what happened with Quentin Tarantino. It kind of scared.
He got just totally beat up for being of support of this. I mean, I think it really hurt his film, and it hurt his.
I do too.
It hurt his. He didn't get nominated this year at
He
all.
got- they got one nomination, but it
No,
was
two.
They got
Best score and best supporting actress. Certainly do.
I think that there is like what we were talking about the makeup of the Academy. There's that part. I also think obviously like what people are saying is that there aren't Oscar quality films, but it's because people won't greenlight the ones with.
Well, Straight
bigger
Outta Compton is certainly an Oscar comedy.
Well, no, I know. I feel like Straight Outta Compton should have been nominated. I thought that film was.
I think it should have been
amazing,
nominated
and if
Best
nothing
Picture.
else, Jason Mitchell,
and a young boy.
Jason Mitchell deserved a nod. I'm sorry, he deserved a nod.
I would have taken out Tom Hardy, who I love, who I would strip down and tie to a chair. Love him to death.
I
But
wouldn't go that far. Not with Tom Hardy.
Well,
That's my boy.
I love Mark Rylance, and everybody loves
Not
Mark.
with Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy's been putting in work for a long time.
Yes, but I still
But
love
I
him.
think certainly there are other people that.
He had like 3 or 4
that
films.
young. Well, he's a star of Baz Luhrmann's new show on Netflix. He'll be okay.
I
I don't think it's going to hurt his career.
I just want like Jason Mitchell, the subtlety and the layers in his performance were so magnificent.
I met him at the Oscar. Sally Kirkland took me as her date to the Oscar party for
Nice.
that. For the party for that, and I got to meet him and talk with him. And his story is very close to this film in a lot of ways, to that
Interesting.
community, though he grew up in Louisiana, I believe. And he was really, he was working, I think, at a fast food place when he found out he got the part. So I thought that this was his whole heart. In the same
Let me
sense
tell you,
of
I'm a big NWA fan. You know, I'm a hip hop head, which
Yes, you are.
I
don't
scoff at me.
No, I don't,
Yeah,
because
you
I'm
do.
not a big rap person, because
But
I don't relate to I'm your hoe, you're my bitch.
But
Well,
that's
it's a reflection
that's
of
not
the
all
environment.
of the hip hop.
No, I'm an old guy. I like Streisand songs.
But if you
I'm
listen
sorry.
to like Kendrick Lamar and like KRS-One and like even like
But I love
Common or
wait,
Queen
let me be
Latifah,
clear
like-
before anybody writes in. I fucking loved the politics of this movie. And that's what I was, when I saw the movie, I
And
was.
God damn it, Paul Giamatti was really good at Straight Outta
was.
Compton.
He
If
was.
you know the history and you know who he was portraying, that boy was.
Yeah, but easy.
Easy.
Jason Mitchell would have got my
He
nomination.
killed it. He
and I
killed it.
love
Yeah,
Paul
I think Jason
Giamatti.
Mitchell, I would have. I
So
would have
the
leaned towards.
supporting actors were Stallone in Creed, Mark Rylance in Bridge of Spies.
I have to say, I mean, I haven't seen all of the others, and Stallone did a very decent job in Creed.
He's better than
I
that.
would not have thought it was Oscar worthy, and not because I think it was a bad performance. I really and truly didn't. I loved the film. I really enjoyed it, and I'm not that into, and I'm not like attached to the Rocky franchise like a lot of people are. I just thought it was a good film, oh my God, her name just went out of my head. Tessa Thompson. She was wonderful in it, in the character that she played as well. Which I think there should have been more talk about her too, just because she's so good.
Well, also to round out was Christian Bale in The Big Short, which I thought he was
Which I
brilliant.
didn't see that
When is he
Real-
not though? God,
When is
Christian,
he?
sit
But
down
he was
somewhere.
really no. I've seen some films where you could pass it by, but I thought he was brilliant in this, and also Mark Rylance in Bridge of Spies, who's one I've seen him on stage, brilliant. I saw the movie, loved the movie, great old Hollywood movie, really well done. Spielberg, brilliant. Tom Hanks has my heart, brilliant. But I didn't really think it was an Oscar-nominated performance. And with that, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back here with my two gals on Absolutely Jason Stewart. Please stay with us. Don't change the channel. Oh, my God, we don't have a channel.
Leo.
He's absolutely Jason. He's absolutely.
You are watching T Radio V, radio in TV.
Hey geeks, wake up! We've got big news. I'm not gonna mumble this time. Geekscape, the long-running movie video game. Let me do one more. Hey geeks, we got big news! Geekscape, your favorite show about movies, video games, comics, and TV, is coming to T Radio V Monday, October 6th. And it'll be on every Monday from then on, 7 p.m. Until the apocalypse happens, we're all eaten by zombies.
Hi, I'm Plastic Martyr, and I've got a new show called Just Like You on T Radio V. It's an inside look into my Hollywood life where I give you a sneak peek into a world of beauty, fashion, and fame. illusions will be shattered. And of course, there's a little sex, hugs, and rock and roll. Be sure to check it out Wednesdays at 11, only on T Radio V.
I'm Zoe Williams.
And I'm Dr. Mark Goulston. I'm Jeff Brown.
And we make up the Zoe What Morning Show. You can find us here on TRadiov.com every Monday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I make you think.
He makes you laugh, and if I get a chance, I'll help you change.
Or make you cry with his attempts at humor.
Radio in TV.
Can you relate? We'll make it happen.
Look at you. What you doing?
Were you mumbling to yourself?
Hey, back there mumbling.
To them. To them.
You are watching T Radio V. Radio in TV.
Jason, he's absolutely gay. He'll absolutely brighten up the darkest rainy day. He's funny and loves movies. He's smart and he's a Jew. He's an actor and an actor.
And we're back at Absolutely Jason Stuart with my guests, Aida Rodriguez and Dalila Rajah, both actresses, comedians, singers, writers, directors, producers. Everybody does everything. So we're talking about Oscars, all things Oscars. So let's talk about supporting actress. We have Jennifer Jason Leigh in The Hateful Eight, which is my choice. Rooney Mara, Carol. Rachel McAdams, Spotlight. Alicia in The Danish Girl. And Kate Winslet, Steve Jobs. All brilliant. Almost all of them are leading performances, which really pissed me off as a supporting actor number one. The only one that really is truly a supporting performance is Rachel McAdams, who I wouldn't even have nominated, who I fucking love, but she wasn't right for this. I mean, and I also have to say in the supporting actor category, Jeff Daniels in Jobs was brilliant. This guy has been snubbed by the Oscars I don't know how many times. Paul Dano in Love and Mercy, an incredibly brilliant performance, and an incredibly brilliant actor. He was also snubbed. Helen Mirren as Hedda Hopper, which he calls the Jews kikes. Man, that's
what happens. You can't say that word.
I think that's the Jews went. I don't think so. And Jane Fonda in Youth, which I would have loved to have nominated, just because nobody saw the movie but me. I think there were 6 people. In the
maybe that's the problem.
Me and 6 people, but it's a very poetic movie, very similar to other films that probably it was a little too poetic probably for the Academy. But I got to say, my choice is Jennifer Jason Leigh. This woman, not just for this performance, but also for a body of work that was just kick-ass. Kick-ass.
I haven't seen any of them. I haven't seen any of those but Carol. And to be honest,
Carol is a leading performance. I mean, it's not a supporting performance.
Well, if you had to pick one, clearly, Kate was the lead. But
because the film's called Carol. But I think that Rooney Mara has more screen time because of those long shots. And they also was not picked for Best Picture or Best Screenplay. And I thought, is this a lesbian thing? I don't know.
I think it's a lesbians with a happy ending thing in part. But I also think that it moves slower. And when I was watching it, and I'm saying this as a queer woman who was really excited to see the story, and I'm like, period pieces are like crack for me. Period pieces,
I love them too.
Chocolate and wine. So, and tequila.
I hate period pieces. A great way for white people to keep people of color out of movies and make them slaves.
No, this is the reason
every
why
time
we
they going back to history.
No.
Oh, let's show the black lady coming out the kitchen and dancing. I hate period pieces. God damn it, they always exclude me.
Now they exclude us. That's a part of the problem. But we need to
we
tell
need to
our
see the other
stories during those
side.
periods.
No, absolutely.
We were there during all that shit. Just
But
nobody
that's what
tells
was
our
cool
They
about
don't read like that.
But that was cool about Mad Men,
that's the
because in
problem.
Mad Men we were starting to see
Let's
the
see Latifah's titties.
We didn't see it until the final.
No.
We didn't see it until like the final season, because for most of
No,
Mad
the
Men they
final-
didn't show us.
yeah, for the
they had
final-
one black girl in like season 2. Then everybody went away.
What is
and took
that?
for like another Mad Men for like another 4 seasons. Then all of a sudden they had a black storyline.
People watch Mad Men because old boy has a big dick. That's why people watch Mad Men.
That was my
But we
first.
didn't
They
get to
show
see
his
penis.
penis. Oh my god! That's
Everywhere.
What John,
There's
everybody
websites
knows
dedicated
I
to
John
it.
haven't seen
Hamm's
it.
penis.
I haven't seen
Just
his
the outlining.
penis.
We've
I
never
watched
seen
it
it,
for the
though.
clothes.
I like the Nick.
I love the Nick.
Well, that's
a period piece with a lot of black people.
No, but that's why I like it, because I'm like, oh
I
shit,
love the
I was
Nick.
around then too.
I love the
According
Nick.
to the Jetsons and the Flintstones, we weren't around back then, and we're not gonna be around in the
Back
future.
then we were the Jetsons and the Flintstones. Well,
All
the
right, so you
Flintstones
want to
were,
start
but that's
there.
a whole
Where
other-
are the gay people? Okay, they got rid of us on season 2.
You think Fred and Barney weren't getting it in? Are you crazy? You think anybody thought Wilma was hot ever? Come on.
She was really mad.
Stop it. What if they did? You know what? There's whole
I love
websites. I bet dedicated to people who thought Wilma was hot.
Really?
Oh, come on.
I need
Wilma
to
was
see
really
that.
mad because
Everything's
she had
on
that
Reddit,
one
everything.
big
I'm hanging
boob.
out with these two.
No, come on. Wilma had that one big boob. It was so
She
large.
had one
it was like
titty.
it was one large tit.
She just had on a special bra. She had on a sports bra.
She had on a breastfeeding bra.
Let's
what
talk
I was trying to say,
let's talk about Best Actress. Best Actress is Kate Blanchett, Carol, Brie Larson, Room, Jennifer Lawrence, Joy, Charlotte Rampling, 45, and cirrhosis of the liver, Ronan, Brooklyn.
You know what that reads to like me? White girl, white girl, white girl, white girl.
Though the one thing
old
is,
white girl.
Well, but
White
old
girl
white
who
girl
made a
doesn't
mop.
happen a
I'm
lot.
just kidding.
So that was
kidding.
I really have to say I can't believe that Lily Tomlin was not nominated for Grandma. It was incredible.
I actually didn't see Grandma, but everybody I know felt the same
Say
way.
I love Lily Tomlin though.
And what were there?
Her and Jane, they boxed them out.
Oh yeah. Are there any films with black women in the leading role this year that you think were
And,
snubbed? I looked all
that
over.
is what the problem is, America.
I could not, or any woman
That's
of color.
the
I could not
greater
find
issue.
it.
I don't think. Don't quote me on that though, because there may have been something. But I don't think that there were any with black because
No.
everybody would have been on my feet talking about.
I was
Were
looking.
there any
I-
with
I
Latino
looked
or
at-
Afro-Latino
Dalila,
women?
I looked and looked and
I
looked.
haven't.
I
We're
could not
always,
There were no roles.
I was arguing with
This is
somebody
a
the other
very
day. They were
bad
talking
year.
about Latin women, and they were like, "You guys," I said, "Listen, we got Penelope Cruz got nominated for Volver, and Salma Hayek and Frida. That's it. Where do you ever hear?"
Well, Vic,
Which and people of Asian descent are much worse
Vicky,
off even because they have
Penelope-
never been nominated.
Penelope Cruz has been nominated 3 times.
Absolutely, but
And
she's
she
also
won
from
one.
Spain.
Yes.
She looks like a bird. Let's be clear about this. She
She's
is not a
beautiful.
Latina woman that
she's hot.
She's very
She's gorgeous.
very Eurocentric, and she's white. She's not a Latina that.
Oh, she isn't.
Latina.
I wouldn't consider her
No,
white. I'd
Latinos
still
don't.
consider her Latina, but she's a very light-skinned Latina.
Well, Latino people don't relate to her. I'm
So the
Latina,
real-
and I
so-
tell
so-
you,
so-
like
so-
we don't
I think
because
Jennifer-
she's those are our oppressors. They're from Spain. Those are not. That's not people from Venezuela and people from Panama and people from Honduras.
I understand, but
don't
she
relate
is-
to.
she would
and I'm a Penelope fan.
So she's
She would
she's
beg
pure
to differ.
Spanish? I didn't even know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, she's from Spain.
She's from
Very big
Spain.
star there, one of their biggest.
She's gorgeous. I mean,
No, I
no,
would beg
she's-
to differ in terms of how she would react to that. So the best actor was the most crowded kind of
She's
category.
too hungry to react to that.
And she hasn't
hasn't eaten in years.
It was the most crowded, but the best actress, there were some comedy people left out. I think Melissa McCarthy in Spy
She's
was
amazing.
hysterical, emotional, deep. I think it was a brilliant.
But I mean, it would have never occurred to me that she would get nominated for an Oscar because they don't nominate comedy, unfortunately. But she was brilliant.
they
in
did.
it.
Wrong.
What? Who?
Jennifer Lawrence, comedy Joy,
Yes.
totally comedy performance.
And the other movie is
Oh,
considered.
you know what?
comedy.
To be honest, I started watching Joy and I eventually turned it off because
And
I got kind of
Silver
bored.
I
with it.
love the movie.
Silver Linings Playbook is considered in the
A comedy.
over there.
Yeah, it's a romantic
And when was
comedy.
the last time
It didn't
an
feel like a
overweight
comedy to me.
woman has been nominated for an
Melissa
Oscar?
McCarthy 3 years ago for Bridesmaid for Best Supporting Actress.
Oh, okay. Well, then she got one. She's cool.
Okay. And Amy Schumer, Trainwreck, there was
No,
talk.
no.
There was talk, though.
Come on,
She
son.
was nominated for
I'm
Golden
a comedian. No.
I know, but she was nominated for Golden Globe.
Okay.
Still not
So
skilled
was
enough
Madonna
yet.
for Evita.
Yes. Oh, we have 2 minutes till the end. So we have to, can we go over just a little, just a couple minutes? Just a little. Is
He's
Eric
back there with
Roberts
his
coming in?
easy.
No. Okay, we're going to go over just a couple minutes if Eric's is not here. So we're going to talk about Best Actor, which is really the category to talk about, I got to say. We have, for Best Actor, leading, where is it? Well, I know who they are, but I can't believe it's not on this list. Leonardo DiCaprio seems to be the shoe-in, which is really, I love him. This would be not the performance for me.
How many times have we heard that though with these people who, even when we
Oh, when
saw
Al Pacino, Son of a
yeah,
Woman.
absolutely, we've heard it so
I
many
mean, the
times.
fact that
Who else is nominated?
Will
this
Smith
year?
was not nominated for Concussion kills me more than anything.
You
'cause
think I've heard a lot of people that didn't really like that performance. I haven't seen it yet.
thought
Although
he-
I've heard it,
No,
it was good, but
I
I've
don't
heard
agree.
people.
I loved the movie. I loved him. I loved that he.
Aunt Viv said his accent was laughable.
Who?
Aunt Viv said a lot of things.
Oh, okay. Well, then maybe I'm wrong. I could be if that's the truth, but I don't.
I don't know if I agree with that, but
Yeah,
she said a lot
We're
of things.
running out of
She
time.
did.
But I have to say that I love him, and he's going to give a great speech. So and I'm glad he's finally going to win, and it seems like a lock for it. Best Picture certainly left out, Straight Outta Compton.
You remember when they thought Tom Cruise was going to win for Jerry Maguire?
Oh yeah.
He did a great job on Jerry
he
Maguire. Though I
killed it.
loved
But it
He
was
killed
romantic comedy. You complete me.
I love the way they switch shit
was a
up, though.
codependent
Because I
romantic
remember
comedy,
when
but I loved it.
we saw Malcolm X and we saw What's Love Got to Do
Oh,
with
Malcolm
It.
X is a whole other thing.
They
That's-
said that you don't normally get nominated for biopics. And then Aaron Brockovich, Julia Roberts won for Aaron Brockovich.
Please,
So-
Streisand won for a biopic.
But
There's
that's
so
what I'm
many
saying
people
when
have
you
won.
say, but it's a romantic
The French
comedy.
actress won
It's a good
for,
movie.
you know,
It's, well, I mean, Shakespeare in Love won, and it was, to me, it was like
And
an
Kate
outright comedy.
Kate Blanchett should have won that year.
for Elizabeth.
With
yes.
Shakespeare in Love? Yes, she
For
was.
Elizabeth,
I
brilliant.
shall let him live as a
All
reminder
right,
of
so
how close
here we
came
are.
to
We're
danger.
going over. The boss is looking. We have to go. These girls were not stopped talking. I told you.
No, he said he gave you another 5 minutes.
you give me 5 more minutes.
It's because I'm here.
Then let's talk. Oh yeah, so we're taking it. We're taking it out of Truth
We all
Serum.
know how you feel
5
about
minutes out of Truth Serum to do this. Okay, so Best Pictures: The Big Short, Bridges of Spies, Brooklyn, Mad Max, The Martian, The Reverend, Room, and Spotlight. If The Reverend wins, I would tell you right now, very much an action picture, but not. There was one point, this is spoiler alert, when he cut open the horse. Took
Okay,
out
I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that.
Pulled the
I don't wanna
insides
hear it,
out,
and
which
he's
I
still
thought,
saying it.
he was going to eat. Took off his clothes
and he's
went
still saying it.
and went inside. I actually thought that I was going to stand up in the movie theater and go, "I'm out."
I was out before that. I don't like
Did
gory.
you go see it?
No, I don't like
Yeah, I told
gory.
you not
I don't
to.
like gory stuff. And in addition, the fact that they keep telling Native stories without telling Native stories bothers me.
You haven't seen the films. There's a lot of it in it.
Right, but it centers around another white man in the center of their thing, told from his perspective instead of from the Native perspective,
but
which
it's
I think is a
also
problem.
done by a Latin man. Say his name because I don't. And get off
Yes.
your phone, please.
Which I
I'm
appreciate.
actually tweeting about
I
you.
Oh, yes,
appreciate. I
right. That's what she always
appreciate that
says.
it is done by a Latin man and that he is the only one who got nominated in that director in that category that's of color. So I'm happy for him.
Babel was my favorite film of his.
And I still wish that people would be willing to greenlight films that center around Native people and Native people stories that don't make them blue
That was
people on
my-
a planet or have a white man in the center being either savior or warrior or
That was
lover
my
or
one
friend.
problem. My biggest problem with the film is that I thought the Indian story was much more interesting than the violence.
The
or
native story.
American Native Indian, yeah, rather than Indian from India.
Yeah.
People on my Twitter feed don't want to hear you say that word. I'm just letting you know.
Oh, I shouldn't say Indian.
No, because it's indigenous people or Native. I mean, people
So
will
Native
say Native
American.
American.
Okay, my bad. Native American stories is the one that I was more interested
And I'm
in.
only letting you know.
Oh,
'cause when-
please.
When I retweeted somebody with the word tranny, you let me know that.
Oh yeah,
They
it's not-
came for me.
Did they? Oh yeah. Well, forgive me. That's my bad, my ignorance. But the Native American story was of more interest to me than the actual violence constant.
Yeah, I can't
constant
handle that. I
violence.
loved Brooklyn like a lot, and you know what? I had somebody was
Ah.
telling me, I was talking to them about how I left Carol, and I couldn't believe it didn't get nominated, and I hadn't seen Brooklyn yet. And my friend, who straight black woman, actually was like, she's like, I think people when they were like weighing between a women-centered period piece, they had to choose between Brooklyn and Carol. And then after I watched Brooklyn, I was like, Brooklyn was a better film. It was. I was more moved more often during that
Oh,
film
yeah.
than I was during Carol. It was just a better film.
Oh God.
And I really
But they're
think,
both good.
I really think Spotlight was the best film of the year because it was about molestation. It was about uncovering.
This is why I'm afraid to watch it. Does it show like anything with the kids? I'm scared.
It's about catching these people. It's a very dense subject matter in terms because it's done by a newspaper, which the Spotlight
Yeah.
is the section of the newspaper, but it's done in such a fabulous way. Thomas McCarthy probably, to me, is one of the most brilliant directors we've ever had, and I think that it is worthy. His film Win-Win a couple years ago with Paul Giamatti, brilliant. This guy is a brilliant filmmaker, and to me, that is the picture of the year because what it does is it uncovers in a very emotional and linear way of what happened in the Catholic Church.
And what's possible with journalism that like we've gotten into a lot of crazy things with media now, but that what journalism initially was, I think.
The end of this kind of journalism because it was
which
done.
sucks.
The end of this
It
kind
used
of.
to help.
Yeah.
It used to be a tool to help uncover injustice.
Yeah,
now
and
it's-
That's
it's-
exactly.
now-
integrity.
You said you couldn't have said
out
it
of
more
integrity.
brilliantly. And with that, we're gonna say thank you to both of you. But please go to see Spotlight if you haven't. Come to see Birth of the Nation in the fall when it comes out.
Yes, please do. It's
And
so
white
good, you
people
guys.
go
Seriously,
see
like really,
movies
really, really good. Like
with-
go see them in the theater. Pay for them.
Yeah, and go see
Pay for
movies with
them.
people that don't look like you so that you can learn
I do that
about
all the
other
time.
people.
You do
And-
that
'cause
all
we
the
watch
time, all the
movies-
time, Jason.
We watch movies about you guys all the time. We don't have
We
a
don't have a choice.
So go watch gay people. Go watch, disabled people. Go, you'll learn
Maybe
something
make that
about
a
American
monthly,
Indians.
Maybe make it that a monthly challenge. Watch at least one
Take your
story that's
children.
about people that you don't know anything about.
Yeah, so that your little girls don't ask, can they touch my hair?
Jesus Christ, please. I had to tell my daughter has to tell people over and over, don't touch my
I
hair.
wish somebody would ask to touch my hair. Anyway, with all that, Dalila, Ali, Rajah, Aida Rodriguez, thank
was
you both for
fun.
being on the show. This was wonderful. We need 3 hours. Thank you all. Until next week, take care, everybody.
Bye, gay people.
There's people
Bye,
who are
American
not gay.
Indians.
Bye, everybody. Bye, everyone.
I want the gay people.
Movies. He's smart and he's a Jew. He's an actor and an activist and wants to hear from you.
You are watching T Radio V, Radio and TV.